Hello and what's up YouTube? We are back with another Getting Started guide. Today we're talking about monsters and monster modifiers. So if you haven't checked out yet, we have an intro video that's linked below about monsters in Path of Exile. And in this video we're going to go over the various modifiers that monsters can have and the potential danger that those modifiers bring to you as a player, and try to highlight a couple of particularly unique monster modifiers that you may want to keep an eye out for. So monsters can have modifiers similarly to items, strongboxes, and areas in Path of Exile. All modifiers can be divided into several groups: your implicit, your explicit, or affixes, prefixes, and suffixes, bloodline, nemesis, torment, and torment, Jorah Mormont. Anyway, torment, and so on. So what are implicit modifiers? Let's go take a look. So there are a couple of implicit modifiers. First off, far shot. Projectile damage is increased based on how far the target is from the attacker. These are used by birdmen, maelstroms, void bearers, as well as some unique monsters. See also point blank. So basically this is the opposite of point blank. So whereas point blank gives you more damage the closer you are to your target, what far shot does is it actually extends the damage the further away you are. So if you're getting hit by void bearers, maelstroms, or birdmen, get closer in order to reduce damage. Undead. This is another example of an implicit modifier. These monsters can be raised by necromancers, used by skeletons, zombies, and others. So you're introduced to the very first of these in Act 1 as you are going through the prison, and you'll see some necromancers. The guy's like almost hovering, floating around, looking like they've got a bird head or some kind of bird headdress with the long cloaks. And they can raise skeletons. If you kill the skeletons or the zombies that are around them, but you don't kill the necromancers, over a time the necromancers will actually extend their hands and raise the skeletons and the zombies back up. Quick note to that: you actually can't exploit that for bonus XP. If something is already been killed and then gets raised by a necromancer, there's no additional, it's not like you're killing additional monsters for XP, so you can't just sit there and just AFK farm necromancers over and over again. But good thought. If you were thinking that, I'm proud of you. You were getting creative with your thought, but you can't do it. Okay, so those are implicit modifiers. Then we've got some explicit modifiers. So magic monsters have one affix. Rare monsters have 3 affixes, one of which may be an aura. This system is very similar to rarity on items, in that magic monsters have their affix added to their name, and rare monsters are given a randomly generated name. For more information on that, see Monsters and Rarity. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the prefixes that can get rolled. So you can have accuracy and crits aura, which gives global accuracy rating and critical strike chance. You've got the cannot die aura, which is hidden, but you see it. You see it all over the place. If something's got a cannot die, it's typically a rare monster that's got it, where it's got the cannot die tag on it, and then you see like the yellow circle that surround both the origin of the aura, and then there's the other version, which is allies cannot die, which includes both the actual monster that's generating the aura off of its prefix, as well as the immediate surrounding monsters. It's really annoying. If you're wondering why can't you kill this stuff, it's because you got to kill first off the guy that's actually got the aura first. Then they've got deadly, which is just sick. 300% increased global crit strike chance and 65% global crit strike multi. Energy shield, 60% of maximum life is added to maximum energy shield. Those can be really annoying. Those are incredibly annoying on the Abyss monsters when they first came up. If they had the extra energy shield, they just took forever to kill in Abyss League until they tweaked those numbers. Hexproof, it means that a monster cannot be cursed, which is really annoying. If your build depends on temporal chains or enfeeble or any kind of defensive curse setup, or even an offensive curse setup where you're weakening the enemy's defenses in any way, a hexproof monster is simply going to negate that. Large physical damage aura, which gives 50% increased global physical damage. Life regen aura. Massive, which gives 25% increased maximum life, as well as character size. Then you've got some other kind of more fringe stuff. Medium physical damage aura. You've got plated, which is a bonus to their armor. You've got increased global accuracy. You've got resists. You've got increased damage off of savage. And then a bunch of other speed aura, slow aura, splitting aura where they fire more projectiles, cannot be stunned, is steadfast, vengeful, group frenzy on death, which just means everybody frenzies and everybody's going to attack you faster. Anyway, so those are some of the prefixes. Some of the suffixes. So you can have of anger, which is they're frenzied as damage. So the more damage you do, to your opponent, the more frenzy they actually are going to go into, which is kind of interesting, because depending on the actual HP of the monster, it's not going to matter. Like if you just blow stuff up in one shot, then frenzy as damage really isn't going to affect you. If, however, you're maybe leveling at the top end of what your character can do, then frenzy as damage can actually be pretty dangerous. Of elemental resistances, they get bonuses to all of their elemental resistances. It's going to be fire, cold, and lightning. Of endurance, 50% chance to gain an endurance charge on hit. Of evasion, 40% increased evasion rating. Of fervor, 40% increased attack speed. Of flames, gain 25% of physical damage as extra fire damage. That can be a lot, especially if you've rolled something like we were talking about earlier, that's got a really sick prefix that maybe adds to its physical damage. That could be a pretty sick combo. Of Frenzy, 50% chance to gain Frenzy on hit. Of Frost, 25% of physical damage is extra cold. Of Lamprey, 100% of physical attack damage leached as life. Wealthy, 2,000% increased quantity of items. This is hidden, and I believe this is only on 2 bosses actually in the game. Okay, so then there's also these modifiers that can come in called Bloodline modifiers. There were a whole list of these that came in with the Bloodline leagues. For lack of a better term, these are your purple monsters or magenta monsters. But as you can see here in the picture, Thornflesh is one of the Bloodline mods. So there's a whole list of those. We're not going to look at all of those today, but just know that some of these can be really, really sick. So here's a couple of them that we're going to look at. The first one is Corrupted Bloodline. So monsters give 1 charge of corrupted blood on death. That can be really, really crazy because you're pressing your flasks and you're like, what's going on? Why aren't I healing? It's because you've got corrupted blood and you've got to get rid of that. Keepers of the Trove, each monster drops a rare item of the same type. That can be really handy, especially for vendor recipes. Living Blood, when all the monsters die, a congealing blood or congealing mud elemental is summoned. These new monsters have different abilities depending on the difficulty and level of zone. That can be really, really annoying because you're just like, blew up a pack, and then all of a sudden there's another pack, and maybe the pack is different, and the prefixes and suffixes on the pack can be different and actually be more dangerous. So just be aware of that. Shrouded is really annoying. Monsters are hidden by fog, and information about the monsters like affixes types are hidden. That's really annoying. You can generally see them because of the effect. They come up like then they look like a fog, like a shrouded monster, but it's just kind of annoying because you're not sure, okay, what other stats does this monster have? How dangerous is this going to be for me to interact with? Lastly, the last one we're going to look at, when killed, this is Union of Souls, when killed, passes a buff to all remaining mobs that increases size and gives them more life. So if you see something with Unions of Souls and there's like 6 of them and you kill one of them, then the 5 remaining get a little bit larger. You kill another one, the 4 remaining get a little bit larger. You kill another one, the 3 remaining get a little bit larger until finally you've just got one that's alive and you've got this massive, void spitter or a maelstrom or, a skeleton that's just walking around and he's massive. It's really fun. That's kind of just a fun one. But with increased size in PoE also comes increased stats, so just be aware of that it technically the monsters are getting bigger and stronger as you kill a Union of Souls style monster. Also, there's Nemesis mods, which came from the Nemesis League. We're really quickly going to look at a couple of these here. The first one that we're going to look at is Berserker. On low life, it gains Fury, which increases attack speed, increases movement speed, and increased cast speed. That can be really sick. Then you've got Blessing of Elements, randomly chills, ignites, or shocks on hit. So unless you've got elemental, simply where you ignore elemental ailments, or you've got a flask set up where you can become immune to those ailments, you've got to be careful because these Nemesis mods can really hurt you and just instantly affect you, especially if you get shocked. Like, really, that's the scary one. Like, Ignite, okay, you take a DOT. Cold, okay, as long as you've got a freeze flask, you're okay. But shock, if you get shocked and then something crits you, boom, there goes your character, and there goes, depending on what level you're at, 5 or 10% of your XP. The next one that we're going to look at is the Soul Conduit. It resurrects itself and all corpses around it upon death, forcing you to fight it again with the same mods, except for Soul Conduit, which is replaced by Apparition. Monsters with no corpses, such as water elementals, and corpses destroyed with skills such as Detonate Dead and Raise Zombies will not be resurrected. So for those of you that play Detonate Dead or Volatile Dead or Raise Zombie, it can be really nice. Or if you use a sacrifice, if you're using a sacrifice offering, then you can just blow up the corpses and you don't have to deal with it. But Soul Conduit can be a little annoying where you're like, haha, blew up that pack, and the pack is back again. You got to fight it again. Vile Touch is really annoying because it applies a poison on hit. So unless you've got a poison immune flask, which, because poison is so rare in Path of Exile right now, it's basically almost non-existent. But there are a couple that do it, including these Nemesis mods. Vile Touch being one of them. So that's pretty annoying because most of us don't run Poison Immune Flasks because it's just so rare. Anyway, okay, so those are some of your monster affixes, their prefixes and suffixes, and the different mods that they can get. So what's my question for you today is, what's the scariest monster you've ever come across? For me, the scariest monster that I ever came across with its mods was a Cannot Die Group Frenzy on Death. And then it was corrupted, and so I wasn't sure what the corruption was on it, but that was really annoying because like I couldn't kill everything, and then once I did kill the one guy in the middle, like I didn't actually kill everything else around it, and so the whole group just frenzied on his death. It was really annoying. Like I couldn't kill him and I couldn't kill the stuff around him. Anyway, it was pretty annoying. But what are some of the more annoying or scary combos that you have come across? Leave us a comment down below, and thanks so much to our Patreon supporters. Thanks so much to Marshall and to Vincent for supporting us on Patreon and making this video and all of these videos possible. Thanks so much.